because we're going to do a walk around and get in the room. To kick things off, there is nothing new that I have purchased in the last 2 days, which is a big deal. No, not really. I've been chilling out lately. First, what I want to start out over here, though, is going to be our sit cabinet. I'm going to turn the camera so you can see. Let's go down here and cut this off. All right. All right, so in here, we've talked about this before. If you follow along, this is where my cabinet has the mealy bugs. And if it has anything else going on, this is where I put it at. The plants, for the most part, still are doing pretty good. I have not got in there in about 2 weeks to spray it off, and I'm starting to see right here. You can look all the way back there, and you can see that I do have an outbreak going on. So we're going to leave that zip down so we don't contaminate the rest of the room. All right. Here we are over here. Let's start with our philodendron moonlight here. This plant right here is starting to get back normally growing, but I forgot to water this plant. And in doing that, it messed this leaf up. This leaf is never going to unfurl. So the best thing for me to do is to go ahead and get in there and cut it. And get rid. Let's see here. So you just make sure you have you some shears or something to be able to cut with. And I'm just going to go all the way down close to where I'm at here. And then I'm just going to cut. And that's going to be it. Okay. All right, over here is a philodendron lemon lime, or I call it my golden goddess, green goddess. She's been growing pretty good. As you can see down here, we have some babies going on, and I just watered her. Now, I usually have to water this plant about once every 2 weeks, but since things have slowed down a little bit, it's by the window and it does have some grow lights. Now, I don't have a grow light all the way up here, and eventually I am going to have to do that, but I've been sharing these grow lights with these plants over here. Now, right back there, that's our white knight. Both of those are philodendrons white knight. One of them is a Japanese white knight. The other one is original. I still can't tell you the exact difference between the two. Other than the stem here, I am starting to see a little bit of white in there, and I don't see that in this one. Well, yeah, that's not white. That's just a vein part. So in the actual stem. So maybe that's how we could tell the difference. We're going to find out. This one right here is the philodendron green Congo, or nuclear Congo. And very, very easygoing plant. Now, what I will say, ever since I've had this plant, the watering conditions have been just crazy. They will dry out a little bit faster than what I'm used to, but the plant is still really good. So I would definitely recommend somebody get that. Here we are over here. This is the philodendron silver stripe. Now, the thing is about with your Brazil sometimes is that these plants will say one thing, but it'd be a total different plant. Now, the key difference between a regular Brazil, you can see the green and all that, and now you can kind of see the color in between here. Now, the thing is that you see a leaf like this, and we would say that this is a Brazil Rio. But then this will say this is a silver stripe. And then we have one of them that you can almost say a cream. So in a batch, you never know exactly what's in there. I believe they all can get in there and just do their own thing. All right, over here we have our Enjoy, or Enjoy. I know I pronounced that wrong at times. But that's been doing pretty good. It did get a case of mealy bugs, and I treated it. And I still feel like I might have saw one or two, but so far, none of the plants seem to be getting affected right now. And to be clear, I pretty much do a whole spray clean out at least once a month on all the plants over here, just to make sure we don't have any type of pests that are going on or staying hidden. Because by the time you catch some of these pests, because I have so many of these plants over here, it's almost half the damage has already been done. So we don't want that. Now over here is my favorite section, and these are my dark leaf philodendrons. All the way back here is my philodendron royal queen. Now I used to think that that was a dark knight, but it's not. And actually the dark knight I had actually died. I wasn't caring for it the way I was supposed to. That was on me. All right, and over here, this is the Majesty. The Philodendron Majesty is also a very, very beautiful plant. Reminds you a lot of the Dark Lord in the way that the leaves become pointy right here. And now you could tell on a philodendron, right here, you could tell away the leaves because of that heart leaf. So it's definitely a big difference in the shape of them. You have this one right here, and then you have one like this right here. So now over here we have the Calatheas and the Stromanthe. Now both of these two plants are very difficult plants. Well, the most difficult plants for me to have to grow personally. So um, I don't want to necessarily tell you this is exactly what you should do because I'm still learning on it. However, this time around, I am giving them plenty of light out of the grow light, and they have over here by the window. And I've also been giving them bottled water. People told me not to give it tap, and that's what was recommended at the nursery. So I'm gonna see how that goes. Now over here, which I often miss a lot, is my tricolor over here, a Signonium. Now, believe it or not, I've had this plant for a very long time. I always forget about it, and when I do, it dries out, and then it has to start all the way from the beginning. But it's a very, very hardy plant. It's a Signonium, so you can't go wrong. Over here, this is a Philodendron Florida Beauty, not Beauty, just a Florida Green. Sorry, whew, big difference. The Florida Beauty has the variegation and all that into it. No, no, no. This is just the Florida Green. It wasn't doing too good by itself, so I took it out the pot and I just created a whole little pot of plants right here. As you can see, I have this is a painted lady, Philodendron painted lady, and this is a Enjoy or Enjoy. And that's pretty much it. I just didn't want to toss none of those together. But hey, Miss Lady June, how you doing? I just didn't want to throw any of the plants or anything, throw them away because there was so little bit of them. So I put them together and boom, there we go. All right. And of course, that's the Brazil right there that just never wants to act right with me. I don't care what I do to it. It's just, it is what it is. Now I have a whole nother one over here, which now that leaf is yellow. I'm gonna have to pluck that one. This plant, I had to just watered it about, I think it was yesterday morning. That's a beautiful plant. I'm gonna have to get down there and take it out one day to show y'all. Now this right here is my Congo, and that one took completely off. You can even see the size difference, how this was like the last leaf it put out, and I was like, wow, okay, this is big. And then it turned right around and gave me this, and that one right there is like almost double. So that's very interesting. Over here is the, I feel like I'm gonna mess your name up. Regranus 4904. I believe I'm pronouncing that wrong, but hey, how you doing? All right, and this right here is the Philodendron Strawberry Shake. I don't know what the next move is going to be for this. I believe I want to put it on something like moss right here so I can get these right here. These are our nodes. We want to get those to grow into the soil. So we're just going to see. I'm a little bit frustrated because I've had this plant for about a year and a half now, and it should be a little bit bigger than what it is. But you got to be patient with your plants. Not every plant is going to give you the same results, and it could be me. I could simply just have the plant in something that it could be doing much better in. You just never know. But I'll get in here one day and trial it out. Let's see here. This is the mix that's in here. It's a nice chunky airy mix. It does like that. Maybe it's time for it to get some water though. Now this right here is the red emerald. And I feel like that if I don't get some support behind here soon, this leaf right here is gonna be the last big leaf that I'm gonna get. My day was all right. How was yours? I have a daughter who's in, yeah. Now, remember when I watered this plant and I got some yellowing off of it and I was gonna cut it back and all that. It was recommended not to. So I'm just filling this out, letting this plant figure out what it needs to do. But if it does keep on yellowing every time I water it, I just watered this one yesterday, then I am going to have to go ahead and get in there and do a repot on the plant. Now, I believe it's 2 or 3 plants that's inside of this pot. So we're going to have to figure that out. But my day was pretty good. My daughter, she's in gymnastics and in cheer. And cheer is the late one. So we just got back. I already had dinner together, so I was able to get them fed and get them to bed the best and the fastest way I can, you know. But it was great. Thanks for asking. Philodendron majestic. Sorry, Philodendron majestic. See, I get these two confused. This is the majestic, and that is the majesty. Don't ask me why or how I do that. I don't know. But anyway, it's time for me also to grab another moss pole on the back of there. I don't know if you can see that, but that plant needs to be attached there in order for something to grow. So we'll see. And we have our Monstera constellations that are down here that are doing great. Over here. Now, this is a Monstera PINN something else. I know I'm messing that up. Dark form, and it's been doing pretty good. I do have this potted up in a very strange way. I'm trying to remember if I released that video or not. I may not have, but I'll definitely, if I don't have it out, I'm definitely going to edit it and get it out. But I did a strange repot with this. I don't know if you can see, it's a pot inside of here. So it's stuff in here and it's also in here. So I got ready to do a repot on this plant, and I realized that it still had some room for it to grow inside of here, but it had so much roots that was growing actually down that I still didn't feel like it was time to do a full repot as far as upgrading it to this size pot. It just would have been too big. So I cut the whole hole off at the bottom down there about halfway through to allow that to be able to grow down, and hopefully I can still keep this together and keep it tight. The goal is to get this plant to grow up on a trellis and just see what it's going to do. Hopefully get it to continue and split its leaves like that. That's the goal. Over here is my Philodendron orange marmalade. This is the Florida green. It just keeps on blooming. I just watered that one yesterday. This is the, sorry, so many plants. I'm bringing them in. The Monstera statulona, or statulona, I believe. That one's out right there, the albo. Sold to me as a Philodendron cobra. But yeah, that's really what it is. I've had this plant, probably one of my oldest plants. The mother plant did die, but of course I was able to get this one to grow. Now I've taken multiple cuttings, and I really think that at some point in time I am going to go ahead and cut, probably right down here. These have some really nice variation going on, and the closer it climbs up, the less light it's gonna have. So I want to go ahead and catch it before it starts to revert. Over here, it's really not too much to show. Now I do have a Monstera albo that we're still in the works of figuring out how we're gonna grow this thing. I think that it's time to go ahead and get it into some soil. So I'm getting very happy about that, to clean it out. And yeah, she's ready to get into some soil, I could tell. Now, I'm a little bit worried because right here, my Monsteras typically don't do well, but this one seems to be doing all right. We've been waiting for this new leaf right here. This is gonna be a new leaf. I don't know if you can see through the light, but that's gonna pop out. That is gonna be beautiful. This one is almost a half moon, so I'm guessing that it's going to be a very, very variegated leaf that looks like that. That's about it. Flame is doing okay. I did have to cut a leaf off of there. Hi, Zum. And this right here, these are the Monstera esqueletos. Now, they've been giving me a little run for my problem money. I cut these back because they weren't doing too good. Got into the soil and realized it was two. I thought it was just one plant. Able to separate the two, and they've been doing all right. It's just figuring out their water cycle. But when they started growing, I did have to cut this off. Now, if you look very closely, you can see we got some new growth get ready to come there. So I'll just focus on not allowing this plant to dry out, because when the plant does dry out, and they're trying to push out a new leaf, you can almost, in my opinion, about 100% is a good chance it's going to mess up. I've never had success. Any plants that start to do that and I forget to water it, yeah, it's a goner. And same thing over here. You can see that new part that came out of there. I got rid of that. Guys, sometimes it's hard to, let me flip this around. Sometimes it's hard to cut a plant down because you don't want to lose the size of it, but it's okay. Uh, Hi, Candlelight. Yeah, it's okay sometimes to cut a plant down if it's gonna make it look a lot better. Sorry, I almost forgot about my Madridians over here. See, we got a leaf over there. It's about to come out. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Very excited about that. All right, so guys, I'm gonna put us on the stand just for a little while. If you have any questions, drop them down there so I can answer them. And what I've still been treating for is that on my stereotype constellation, I feel like I saw a mealy bug on here, and it hasn't been too long since I just treated this plant, but with mealy bugs, sometimes you just never know. Now, it's not all around in the room, and so far the plant is isolated to its own little section, so I don't have to worry about it spreading. And at this point, I'm not. I have a formula that does seem to work. Do I have it laying around here? Yes. This right here, I don't get paid for it, but you know I'm gonna put you on game. This right here you get from Amazon. Guys, this mixed in with some water, it's gonna work pretty good. You could spray mist it or you could put it directly in the soil, and it's been helping me a lot with my plants. Most of the time, I would say for me, watering was the number one issue. It wasn't necessarily pest. And usually it's underwatering. We hear a whole lot of stories about people who overwater, and you know about that, but you also can do a thing just as bad, and that's underwatering. And you can tell if you're underwatering. Number one, usually your plant leaves will start to curl. If you pay attention to how your plants look when they're full with water or when you first buy them, then you'll be fine. Tried to find something, but nothing. Okay, I'm gonna. Okay, so after the video ends, it may take a little while for the live to actually post up. Then I'll put the link in there. You also could message my Instagram. It's the same handle on there, and I'll send the link to it. Yeah, I definitely have it in there. I actually was gonna add some to. Oh, you're welcome. I was gonna add it to my cart last week, but it's a bigger version of it. So yeah, I'll get it to you. It's by it's by like Sierra Nevada, that brand. So that's how I typed it in order to find it. But anyway, we're gonna take care of that. But yeah, this does pretty good. Like you can spray it on your plants, and you can also pour it inside the soil, and that takes care of in case they laid eggs or so forth from there. And you always know that you can always repot the plant. Now you may have to start all the way from the beginning, and depending on how important the plant is to you, sometimes it's easier just to go ahead and toss it. But if the plant means something to you and it's definitely a plant that's worth saving, I'm always up for treat your plants. That's the first step I try to do. Treat my plants, unless somebody gave me something that I didn't ask for, that I didn't want, that was problematic. Gotta be careful of that. People assume that just because I have a lot of plants that I can grow any plants, and that's not true. It's way more plants out here than what's in my room. My room is not even a fraction of what's out there, you know? So um, if I have a plant that somebody just gives to me, assuming that I want it, I'll do the best that I can in order to keep it. But most of the times, either I give it back or I just give up with it. I have thrips and spine issues. Ooh, I do not envy you. I am sorry. I hate you have to go through that. Um, This does work good with thrips. I did use it on the thrips that I got on Big Mama before, and it did pretty good. And Big Mama got it from the Monstera that I had that I didn't know I had, and it actually worked good on the Monstera Deliciosa. Monsteras, I'm guessing you probably got thrips on your Monsteras, don't you? There, Monstera should come with a disclosure that you're going to get thrips, and Pothos should come with a disclosure that you're going to get mealy bugs. I hate those things too. Now, I've never had spider mites, or I may have had spider mites and I just confused it. I have seen some spider webs behind my plants or look like it, so maybe that is what spider mites is. Um, Usually by the time I had spider mites though, I already had thrips, so I guess I always just double treat it at the same time and go from there. Um, but yeah, guys. So other than that, though, I don't have too much that I think that I'm going to be buying this winter time. This month, I really just want to take the time to take care of my plants. I This year has not been a year that I've been doing a lot of buying. Um, I don't know if I just fell out lost the buying bug, which is a good thing. It's been good on my wallet, or I'm just learning to slow down and appreciate, or I have all the plants that I want. Um, I used to say I had this wish list of plants that I wanted, and so from there, and every time I'll get the plants off the wish list, I'll add on some more. And you never get mealy bugs? That's what, high five on that. That's what I'm talking about. Now, I need to join that club. Oh, um, but yeah, it's just been no plants that's on my list to get that I don't have. If anything, I've been really focused on growing the best, healthiest versions of the plants that I have because if I do, my plants are monsters. They're gonna take over the room. You know what I mean? If I grow them right, so I don't need to be adding to a collection that's already too small. Like I can't tell my wife, but I mean, if all these grow to the full size that I'm hoping they're gonna do, like a lot of these plants gonna have to come out the room, and she is not gonna be a happy camper probably if some of that happens. She hasn't been saying anything to me, but the next result would be me getting a greenhouse put outside in the backyard and moving things out there. The only thing that I would be concerned about with that would be when it gets cold and having to heat it up, and I'm not trying to catch a fire and all of that. Thrips are probably one of the worst, though. Yeah, yeah, they are. They are. Yeah, yes. I'm not gonna sugarcoat that one. They are pretty terrible, and they're so aggressive. They move so fast, and they just so relentless, almost to the point they want you to start your plant all the way over from the beginning. And even once you start it all the way over from the beginning, they still want to try you. I do not have a wish list if I enjoy the plants I have. There you go. That's a way to be appreciative. And once you once you don't have that wish list and you're able to focus on the plants you have, you realize that you could be stepping your game up. I'm not speaking on you, I'm talking for me. You realize you could be stepping your game up and doing a little bit more for your plants other than just having them and giving them water. Um, Most of my plants in here, as you could tell when we was walking around, they're outgrowing their moss poles. And so my job, I need to build moss poles, take them off, switch out different ones. I have so many different types of moss poles in here. No particular reason. I just needed a moss pole, saw one, bought it for the cheapest amount price, got it, boom, liked it, didn't like it. Now I will say my least favorite moss poles are those real wide ones. I'll show you. Now, don't judge the plant. We're talking about the moss pole now. Ooh, this one's been a struggle too. This has been my Monstera Losteo. So we have some new growth shooting out from right here and right here. And we just gonna hope for this one, okay? I just really don't know what's going on with this one. Sometimes you give the plants the exact care that they say that they need and it just doesn't work out, or I'm overthinking it. But I do not like these moss poles with this width. I thought I was gonna like it because if I could find a plant that was gonna have some wide, um, thick nose or stems that was gonna run up on it, that's gonna be good. But it's really just big and bulky. The two little stems that they have to go inside in there just aren't sturdy enough if you had a plant to have some weight on it. So the only way to get some good use is to stuff it inside of here. And now you wasted most of the moss pole. And then when it comes to the attachment, I have attached one of these before and stacked it up. I forgot on exactly what plant, but you have to take the legs and stick them back here. And then I had to use the zip tie is still here, and I had to tie it up behind. So that made things a little more complicated. But anyway, guys, I'm sorry, I got a little sidetracked. Once I stopped trying to buy every single plant that I saw, I learned how to focus on the plants and give them the care that they actually need. Now, I told you all that I was going to show you a plant. Let me see. Glad that I am showing you a plant because there's actually some that needs water. So, I do not know the name of the Scindapsus. It was given to me as a gift. It's between, I have two of them. Now, this could either be a Scindapsus Pison or, I don't know. Don't get me going. So, these are the two. Let me get the other one out so you can see that too. I can get the name of these plants, but they grow just like the regular Scindapsus, so I didn't really need to know the name of it. No, I do not have any orchids. So I just found out like yesterday that the orchids, I'm being funny about yesterday, but probably it wasn't too long ago, maybe a month or something ago, that I found out that orchids don't like the ice going in. You're not supposed to water them at the top. I didn't know that. Um, I've also never really looked at an orchid as being a plant that lives longer than just, sounds bad me saying this. You know, sometimes when you buy plants and it's only for a temporary, just for the season. I don't know if you've ever done that before. So whenever I receive orchids, I never really thought about orchids and the longevity of keeping them because I didn't know they could actually rebloom. I didn't know anything. It's my ignorance. I didn't know anything about it. And I'm going to tell you, it's somebody, her name is Urban something that I follow on Instagram, and she has a whole, like, she did a whole trellis or almost like a pop bin section of them. She has several of them on a row on each side, and that's how she grows them. She in Florida, so she can have them outside, and they are beautiful. And I was like, I never looked or paid attention to it being so many different versions of orchids. When I go into the store, I just see them either white or pink and go from there. So I do not believe an orchid is for a beginner plant though. So you're asking me to really push my brain to the intermediate level. But I'm not going to even lie to you. I've been looking more for a challenge, and they are beautiful. So now I love a blue one. Are there any ones particular that I should look at? I know some, like some, we say philodendrons are easy, but there are some philodendrons I would recommend, like a philodendron Congo is almost impossible to kill, versus if you get a philodendron painted lady, you might have some problems, you know. So are there any recommendations for orchids specifically to look for? Just let me know on that. But yeah, so these two right here. Next, I have a Monstera. I believe this one's an Ari. I need to give it some water though. You can tell that the leaves are a little dry. It has its own little insular. See, I keep all my plants until they reach to the point. Lucky. Hey, George. Lucky, the Florida weather. Yes. I see you all with the monsteras growing on the tree and the pothos. Oh. So I have a pothos right now that I'm actually allowing to trail up. I'm happy of the leaf got to be big. Let me grab it right quick. All right, here we go. All right, so this is the pothos. So down here, this of course is the leaf where it started at, and now look at it, it's starting to grow. So that's my biggest leaf so far. Very happy about that. So what I'm gonna do is just attach this right back here, spray to continue spraying the moss pile. I usually just mist it every other day, and I go from there. But the goal is to have one of those huge leaves that actually split, and yeah. See here. Try a. Okay, well, I'm gonna screenshot that so I don't forget. There, I know. I did not know that. They are dyed. Wow. Oh, you from Florida? I'm in North Carolina over here, cold. Today was 40, 46 degrees. Now, that was a lot better than what happened last week. Last week, out of nowhere, we was in like 66, 67 degree weather. It's 23 degrees outside. I don't know where that came from. Man, I didn't know what to do. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, the leaves are sized. That one took me by surprise when that leaf sized up like that. Oh, look how that. Wow, that big. So now it has me motivated to keep it by the window, keep the light going and all that. So I go with it. But yeah, I was just talking a little bit about the plant care. Once I stopped buying plants, I just started paying attention and started wanting to care for my plants. Now, probably one of the most difficult plants that I have is, it is a proud moment. Yeah, yeah, it really is. Especially when I first started off, it was rough. Some of these plants here, here in Virginia. Virginia, okay, well, you're right there. It's probably a little bit cooler in Virginia, right? I think that's how it works. No, I don't know. It's Virginia. You all have your own country. I don't know. It's Virginia. Now I'm telling you, if it's one place, when I'm doing any type of driving or anything, if I'm gonna drive the right speed limit, it's gonna be in Virginia. I am not getting on my phone because I'm in Virginia. I am just getting through Virginia. I'm not playing no games. So yeah, I used to drive a lot. Being in North Carolina, of course, we would go up there and that going to Emporia and then hopping on, I forgot what that highway is, but that long, boring road. Oh my gosh. We used to head to Virginia Beach all the time. We had people that was out there and gosh, we would be on that thing. I think it's 58 or whatever it is for a long time. But never got hit by a deer, none of that in being there. So I will take it. But yeah, so guys, I really don't want to bore you, but I don't really have too much else to talk about. I wasn't prepared to stay on and get this far. I guess I was being a little bit pessimistic. But deer, my wife's car right now is in the shop off of a deer. Yes. We live by deers, and my wife, she's a traveling nurse, so she's on the interstate all the time. So she has a heavy foot. She goes, and she decided to tell, yep, 58, you got it, That's the road right there, I'm telling you. But right there where I think it's 95 and 58 meet, is, I believe I'm in the right spot. That is a gas station right there. Some of the best potato wedges you can get in, I don't know what other states, but I'm gonna tell you, I drive all the way there. When I go to my mom's house, she lives back there where Henderson and all that's at in North Carolina. So we're right there at the border. So yes, when I have about 45 minutes to be able to drive, sometimes it take an hour depending on traffic. I will hop in there and drive just for that. what you call it, sauce by a deer in the oh my goodness, in your driveway. I I had no idea. I knew they can do damage because I came from like in the country and we know about that. But now the thing is, these cars are made so cheap, they're nothing but plastic, that the least little tap, it completely goes in. When you had those big old Caprice and them long cars where you used to have to put the gas on in the back, you filled it up from the back. Well, not going through those hard metal cars, nothing at all. A deer what? So, yeah, yeah, it sucks. So, no, this right here is a Philodendron brantanium. Now, it is a one of the very difficult of philodendrons to grow, and the reason why is that this plant is naturally viney. That's my conclusion. Hold me to it. I don't know, um, but so when they grow up like this, they need a lot of light. They tend to dry out a little bit faster, and these plants right here become very frustrating because they also deal with stuck leaves as well. So this is a plant that, because it requires so much and you give so little in return, it makes most people feel like they don't know how to care for this plant. And I think that they're doing a fine job. But they seem to get annoyed of it because they say it's too viney, it's not doing good, so they usually keep cutting the plant. And the plant's always cut, and so they said they can't grow. But I believe that that's just how the plant is supposed to grow. Now, this plant can use some water. And it can grow a little bit better than this. And I'm going to set it to the side to make sure I get it some water. Right. That one is not looking too good. Yeah, yeah, I know. The Britannium, that I'd rather have a Britannium than a Philodendron Birkin, though. Now that Birkin gave me a run for my money. I'll tell you that. It's also another Philodendron that did me wrong. A Prince of Orange. I can't do it. A Philodendron Prince of Orange. They dislike me so much that this was a Prince of Orange. And nobody's not going to tell me different because I know what I bought. Okay? I know what I bought. I know that this was a Philodendron Prince of Orange, and it hated me so much it turned into a Imperial Red because I didn't buy another red plant because I had one back there. So that's how much a Philodendron don't like me, that Prince of Orange. The Goldini, I believe that we talked a little bit about that one, just a tad bit, but yeah. But anyway, guys, I am gonna go ahead and hop off of here. I do plan to get on here. I don't know if it's gonna be the daytime or the evening. If so, do I have any? Okay, I'll handle that one. So I do. I'm gonna show you. Now it's actually in the cabinet that I don't want to go in right now, but I'm gonna show it to you. That's the Hoya right there. And if I didn't tell you it had pests, you never would know. But that's it. It's not the crimson. I don't know exactly which one is called. I gave it a name the last time, and somebody corrected me very fast on Instagram. All in DMs. She's like, that is not that plant is. That is mislabeled. Oh, I'm like, damn, or dang, So yeah, but yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is a beautiful plant. So easy to grow. And I always say that if I wouldn't have started with philodendrons and I would have started with Hoyas, I believe I would be a Hoya head because they grow to be beautiful. I also have a Carry. I skipped over that. Sorry. The heart-shaped ones. Again, if I learned how to properly grow them, I believe it would be doing really well. But just don't. But anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and hop off of here. It's been fun. I appreciate you hopping in and just conversating. Tomorrow or the next time I get on here, I'll have a list a little bit more prepared, maybe of like my top 3 or 4 plants. And if you all know something that you particularly want to see, just put them down there. I'll definitely go back and read before I hop on the live, and I'll start off with that. But anyway, you all have a great night.